This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you already know that, so I don't know why we're making a big deal about it, because it doesn't matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, we are enjoying this lovely Whip 'em Out Wednesday on October the 15th of 2025, day 288th of the year, and only 77 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yes, hanging out, doing our thing, because that's kind of what we do. We go a little bit of here, we go a little bit of there, and then we hang out and go throughout the whole multiverse of stuff going on. Anyways, how has the last 24 hours been for you? Because it's always a good time as we are talking and going through all that structure. No doubt about that. So, how's the last 24 hours been? What did you do? What came up? Anything exciting? Always a good time when we get to start talking. No doubt. No doubt. Think about it for a moment. We're getting to do some stuff that can help change the environment of a workplace. So that's kind of a cool thing when you kind of start taking a look at it at the big scheme of things. So there you go. So with that being said, our show consists of safety in the news and safety. Just kind of how it happens. And then if you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process on doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options that will automatically show up for us to take a look at together. And then once you kind of do whichever one you want to, it gives me a little prompt on the screen. I can either take a listen, a look, whatever, or a read of what's going on, and then we kind of go from there. What I always tell people is that's kind of, I know how to go where what the show needs to go to. And I know some people don't love that, but that's kind of really how it lays out. I look at it and go, okay, this is what I need to do. And I will follow along from there. So, cool times when it's all said and done. Anyways, with that being said, we have some professional broadcasters that will jump in, help us out from Feature Story News. That's kind of how they help out, at least in the first segment. Then we have some other newscaster, Alan Edwards, comes in the later on. I'm going to say in the afternoon, listen to me. And then we kind of go from there. So with that being said, why don't we start talking about what the hell was trending in the air the night?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look at the trends of the ends, it goes something like this. Notable and noteworthy, Elon Musk's frightening vision for one of his companies. Also, Alec Baldwin is okay with after crashing his wife's car into a tree. And rock legend announces his retirement. More about that in show business. Also, Shirley Hines stops by The View. Details about that in casting calls. And maybe the business maven could use some advice of her own. We'll talk about that as we get into the Royals. So if you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. We can start talking right away to our friends from Feature Story News, and they can tell you what's going on with the stories. So why don't we go ahead and do that right now to start having that little discussion, because, you know, it can be important to do so.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News, I'm Rebecca Bunden in Mumbai. Israel's military says Hamas has returned the bodies of 4 more deceased hostages. While President Donald Trump has declared the Israel-Hamas war over, some Middle East experts say the process to end the conflict is just beginning. Charlotte North reports.
President Trump returned to Washington last night in celebratory mood. The president says that the next stage of negotiations over his plan to end the war are underway, but there are no details yet on how, where and when they'll be carried out.
I'm talking about something very much different. We're talking about rebuilding Gaza. I'm not talking about single state or double state or two state. We're talking about the rebuilding of Gaza.
Arab leaders want to bankroll the rebuilding of Gaza, but they want assurances that Israel won't restart its bombing campaign. They're also looking for firm signals that the process will result in an eventual Palestinian state. Assurances that require buy-in from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that he's so far been unwilling to provide. Charlotte North, Washington.
President Trump has hosted the Argentinian leader Javier Milei at the White House. It comes after the US agreed to a $20 billion currency swap in a major bailout of the Latin American nation. But President Trump said elections this month in Argentina could impact this plan.
And the election is coming up very soon, and it's a very big election being watched by the world because he's done an incredible job. But with that comes some pain, and they have some pain, and now they're coming out of it. And I think the victory is very important. Your poll numbers, I hear, are pretty good, but I think they'll be better after this. And, you know, our approvals are somewhat subject to who wins the election, because if a socialist, or in the case of New York City, a communist wins, you feel a lot differently about making an investment. I think, Scott, you'd feel that if somebody that had no chance, in other words, if somebody wins and has no chance of ever having a great economy because of that philosophy, you would put a halt to what we're doing.
The IMF has slightly upgraded its forecasts for global and US growth for this year in its latest World Economic Outlook report. The IMF says US tariffs have had a smaller impact globally than might have been anticipated, but it would be premature and incorrect, it says, to conclude they haven't had an effect. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
The word uncertainty appears in the IMF's World Economic Outlook report 102 times. If tariffs continue, the IMF warns of prolonged uncertainty, more protectionism and labour supply shocks, with many countries and regions forecast to have even lower growth in 2026. Also out on Tuesday was the IMF's Global Financial Stability Report. It noted that global markets have been largely resilient in recent months.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, the document that President Trump and other world leaders signed in the Egyptian coastal city of Sharm el-Sheikh on Monday. We've now had a chance to see it, and it is very light on the detail of Gaza's future governing arrangements. President Trump says the territory will be overseen by a board of peace that he will head, but when asked about whether he's backing a two-state solution for Israel and the Palestinians, he says he has no view and simply wants the fighting to stop. The Palestinians do have a view, and it's expressed here by Adel Atiyah, the Director of European Affairs at the Palestinian Foreign Ministry.
The future of Gaza is in the hands of the Palestinian people only, and we are ready to exercise our power, to exercise our sovereignty under the concept of a two-state solution. If any other parties would contribute to push forward for this solution, they are very welcome. But the future of Gaza should not be separated from the future of the West Bank. We are talking about a peace plan that should be based on the concept of a two-state solution, and any political horizon should take into account the right of the Palestinian people to live in their own independent state.
None of that appears to be what the White House is considering, and the details are going to be very tough to hammer out in the days and weeks ahead. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. Israel's military says Hamas has returned the bodies of 4 more deceased hostages. President Trump has hosted the Argentinian leader Javier Milei at the White House, as the US has agreed to a $20 billion plan to help tackle the country's currency crisis. The IMF has slightly upgraded its forecasts for global and US growth for this year. And that is the latest feature story news. Rebecca Bundin reporting.
Listen to our host
of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns, and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. It's all about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Oh, you know how it goes around here, that's for sure. 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Whip 'em Out Wednesday. That is for sure. Anyway, so let's start getting into all the stuff that we're going to get into, because why would we do anything else besides get into what we need to get into? That seems kind of silly. Okay, so take a listen to this. Let's talk about some tariff talk, because, that's what we do around here. We talk about that stuff. We take a maneuver, we take a listen, we take all that kind of fun stuff into this, and here we go. President Trump will meet with a person, in person, better say, with Xi Jinping of China at the end of the month during the International Trade Summit that is hosted by South Korea. The timing of the meeting coincides with Trump's recent threat to impose 100% additional tariff on Chinese goods beginning November the 1st. Yesterday, Trump on Truth Social accused the Chinese of not buying an adequate number of soybeans, calling it an economically hostile act. He added that we are considering terminating business with China and having to do with our cooking oil and other elements of trade as retribution. In particular, Trump says that we can easily produce cooking oil ourselves. We don't need to purchase it from China. This is according to the real Donald Trump on Truth Social. So there you go. So take a listen to this one. No, thank you, please. Elon Musk said that in a recent interview that his medical technology company Neuralink will in the future not just help people with disabilities use computers and regain some motor skills, but allow people to become symbiotic with artificial intelligence. In particular, Musk envisions Neuralink technology company to improve the bandwidth of communication with AI so that AI knows what we want. This is according to @Stillgray. Worth noting, we don't need to further outsourcing through thoughts to robots for the average person. For walking human supercomputers like Musk, perhaps there is an application to further supercharge his thought process and not waste precious time to mundane tasks like, human interactions. Worth asking, how long does till a Neuralink chip that mainlines. What does it say? Mainlines pornography right into your cerebral cortex. Really? That's what we went with? We went with the porn side? So I don't know. It gets kind of interesting when you start thinking about the Neuralink stuff. Like, if you haven't looked into it, it's definitely something worth giving a linger to, because it has all kinds of interesting stuff that it can do and that it's able to help people with. But it's essentially, with some information, could lead to having, let's just talk about it, like the jackport in the Matrix. I mean, it doesn't work that quick, but something along those lines. Kind of makes you wonder about a lot of stuff, that is for sure.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, you know how it is, some risky business. If not, we're not doing it the right way. That's for sure. So what else? Let's see. One of the provisions of the big, beautiful Bill Act that passed earlier this year capped the amount of federal government would back for grad plus loans used to earn degrees such as medicine or law at $50,000. And what do you know? The professional schools have begun to drop their tuition right to down to $50,000 for 2026 to 2027 school year. In one case, Santa Clara University has capped the law school admission at the amount beginning next fall, doing out scholarships in all enrollees between $12,500 to $16,000 a year to cover additional costs. This is according to the John Arnold Foundation. So there you go. Worth noting. Let's see. Trying to explain how government subsidizations of education and health makes the entire industry unaffordable is like Oscars trying to explain Michael the budget on surpluses. I mean, just think about it. I would show you a clip from The Office there, but I don't want to get copyright violated for doing so. So there you go. So what do you think about this whole thing? It's always interesting when you start taking a look at all this stuff that goes on. No doubt there. Let's just be realistic. It changes so frequently that it's kind of hard to keep up sometimes with what exactly is going on or not going on, and that's in some cases. Okay, with that being said, let's continue talking. A new type of wood that is up to 10 times stronger than steel. Yeah, while also being up to 6 times lighter, is being produced by Invent Wood in Maryland. Superwood. Yeah, there you go. Superwood was created by material scientist Liebenberg, who over a decade ago set out to re-engineer how most common building materials. He accomplished the feat in 2017 when he chemically treated wood to enhance the natural cellulose, making it denser and overall better construction material. After years of perfecting the process and filing over 140 patents for a superwood, it's officially on the market. Though currently the use is exterior jobs such as decking. The plan is to eventually market it for interior jobs such as wall paneling, flooring, and furniture in 2026. So superwood, it looks like wood, and then let's see, when you test it, it behaves like wood. CEO Alex Lau explained it, except that it's much stronger and better than wood pretty much in every aspect that we've tested. This is according to CNN. So there you go. Superwood. I mean, it looks like normal wood, or at least based on pictures that are online. So I don't know. I look at it from the standpoint of, does it make sense or does it not make sense? So there you go. So I don't know. That's kind of like hempcrete to me. You remember when they were talking about hemp being the next big thing in regards of concrete? And they kept on calling it hempcrete. That's the stuff that I think about as we are talking. So there you go. Okay, so let's get into some other news because that's what we need to do around here. Let's see. R&B artist D'Angelo has died. He passed away on Tuesday after a lengthy battle with cancer, according to a statement from his family. He was 51 at the time of his passing. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there. Let's see. Do we want to talk about this? Okay. Former GMA3 co-anchors Amy Broach and TJ Holmes are engaged. The news comes 3 years after the secret relationship caused a scandal at ABC, which forced them out. This will be Holmes' second marriage and Broach's third marriage. So there you go. There you go. Some stuff right there always going on as we are talking. You know, relationships are complicated. You never know what's going to happen, that's for sure. I mean, one wants to talk and be like, oh, this is going to be the perfect world. Let's see. Relationships take, work. Some people don't want to talk about that, but that's kind of really how it goes. If you want it to work, you have to put work into it. If you don't put work into it, guess what? It doesn't normally work out too well. Just the way that it goes. Anyways, let's talk about the swamp. President Trump posthumous awarded the Medal of Honor to Charlie Kirk at the Rose Garden ceremony on Tuesday on what should have been Kirk's 32nd birthday. Okay, take a listen to this. Punch Bowl News. Jake Sherman reports that the White House is hunkered down to a long government shutdown. Their record is 35 days. The Trump administration is moving money around to ensure that the law enforcement and military continue to get paid working throughout. New terrorist revenue is covering some of the handout benefits. One unnamed official inside of the Office of Management and Budget says the department is making every preparation to batten down the hatches and write out the Democrats' doing is what it says, adding to pay the troops and pay the law enforcement to continue the layoffs and wait. Sherman says the Democratic leadership has hoped that Trump would feel enough political pressure that would push the Republican congressional leadership to the negotiating table, but that just not in the case currently. The guy has, beat 4 lawfare campaigns, 2 impeachments, 2 would-be assassinations. He brought peace to the Middle East and stopped the new conflict from going on. Revenue from his tariff scheme is ensuring single mothers continue to get supplement foods and assistance, and a high majority of Americans still support ICE enforcement of across the board and deportation, and no matter the length of the illegal immigrant rap sheet. So there you go. This is according to what the editor had to say. And then it says, so no, Chuck Schumer, you're not getting a negotiation. If you're a party that has voted against reopening the government 5 times now, you've lost. I have a hard time sometimes with some of the editorial stuff because, listen, I want to really go just based on not so much opinion. I want to go down the center so as to talk about it. Because, listen, if I start leaning too far right, people are going to be like, I'm on the left. If I lean too far left, people are going to be like, I'm too far on the right. So there you go. We need to figure out how we're going to do this. I like to go not necessarily opinions. I need to go by facts for us to have the discussion. And listen, not everything we're going to say on the show are people going to love. I think we kind of already know that.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. Let's talk about the numbers. The Dow gained 202 points to close at 46,270 on Tuesday. The S&P fell 10 points to close at 6,644, and the Nasdaq fell 172 points to close at 22,521. West Texas Intermediate closed at $58 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $62 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.07 on Tuesday, and Bitcoin tumbled on the day, down 2%, trading just around $113,000. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $273 million jackpot or a $127.8 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Well, it's the truth. Let's not lie here about some of this stuff. Anyways, Taylor Swift, The Life of a Showgirl, sold 4 million units in the first week. It is also her 15th number 1 album on the Billboard 200 chart, making her the sole act with the second most number 1s. The Beatles are ahead of her with 19 number ones. This is according to People magazine. Also, Swift's new track dominated the Billboard Hot 100, claiming the top 12 spots. Let's see, with The Fate of Ophelia in the top spot. And it's the first time an album has ever had all its songs with no other songs in between, from the top of the chart on all the way down. Swift is already the only artist to ever hold the Hot 100 entire top 10, which is also what she did after the release of Midnights and the Tortured Poets department. So there you go. Congratulations there. I mean, if that sounds like a good time for her in regards of what's going on, no doubt there. So there you go. What else we got? Alec Baldwin was driving himself and brother Stephen Baldwin from home in Hampton Film Festival on Monday when he crashed his wife's car into a tree. Alec detailed the incident on Instagram, claiming that he was cut off by a guy driving a garbage truck and described the size of a whale. To avoid hitting him, Alec says that he swerved and hit the tree. So let me make sure I understand this. You got cut off by a garbage truck. And you had to run into a tree? That was the option. That was the options? Okay. Just want to make sure I understood. That's what it says. Okay, so take a listen to this. Diane Keaton, hometown of Santa Ana, California, is laying out plans to honor the late actress. Santa Ana mayor said that the city will pay tribute to Keaton by adjourning the next city council meeting in her honor, illuminating the water tower in her favorite color and placing the street toppers with her name near the local high school. The city is known for its water tower and illuminating and having it up in purple when Prince died in 2016. After Kobe Bryant's death in 2020, Keaton passed away on Saturday at the age of 79. So there you go. Let's do one more real quick. Tiger Woods underwent lumbar disc replacement surgery last week, making it the 7th back surgery in 11 years. While the surgery was deemed successful, there is no word on how long he will be out of the golf course. Woods hasn't played since his loss in the PNC championship last year. This is according to ESPN. So we'll see what happens because, you never know what's going to happen there. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and I think it's time to do that thing that we normally do around here, and let's talk about our main story. I almost gave you the money story. You don't want the money story. You want the main story, so let's do that right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, by the way, thanks for the people that reached out about the concerns about me getting a cold. I mean, we're going to be okay. My voice sounds better today. Not that it sounds great in the first place at any point, but I was just saying it sounds better today than when it sounded yesterday. So let's get into some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to talk about two things that rarely show up in the same sentence, but absolutely should. And what am I talking about? Workplace safety and nepotism. You heard me right. Nepotism, the fun little tradition where the kid, the cousin, or the best friend ends up with the job that you spent years trying to qualify for. And look, it's not new, it's not unique, and it's been around forever. Some of you listening right now are probably, work for a company or a family company, better saying, where the last name on the logo matches the name of your boss. You know what I'm talking about. Their spouse, their kids, just graduated with a degree of knowing the right people. But here's the thing. Nepotism isn't just an HR problem. It also can be a safety problem. Because when the power and privilege are handed out instead of earned, the rules start to bend. And safety usually is the first thing to go, snap, 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 snap. But you kind of already know this. So let's kind of go through this. So let's take it from the top because I think that's going to be the easier aspect of doing it. Your company that preaches safety values, we're all about safety. We're all about people. Safety is our number one priority, which we all know that's bullshit, but people say that. They've got the posters, they got the banners, they got the slogans. Maybe they even have the fancy safety awards framed in the lobby, because we do that. But behind the scenes, the safety coordinator, the brother-in-law, the maintenance manager, and guess what? Guess who skips lockout tagout procedures because he's in a hurry? Guess who gets away with it because that's family? And then when something goes wrong, when someone gets hurt or worse, everyone stands around acting shocked. How could this happen? It happened because accountability was optional for the right people. I know. Sounds a little much today. But see, here's the dirty little secret about workplace culture. People watch what leaders do, not what they say. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with that. So when employees see someone protected by bloodlines instead of compliance, it sends a loud and clear message. The rules don't apply to everyone. Think about that for a moment. The rules don't apply to everyone. And the moment that you thought that everything goes through and takes hold, your safety culture starts to rot. Why would anyone else care about doing the right thing when the boss's kid doesn't have to? Why would one report a hazard when it'll just make you look like you're targeting someone who's off limits? When nepotism walks in, integrity walks out. Think about it for a moment because it's kind of the constant thing that we get to talk about. And then when integrity, leaves the whole thing, safety is the next thing that goes in line. I mean, think about it from things that you have seen to this point. Now, don't get me wrong, family-run businesses aren't the enemy, and believe me, Fortune 500 companies are not the enemy either. But some of us look at this and go, some of them are incredible in regards to what they do. Some of them build loyalty, purpose, pride that corporate giants can only dream of. But there's a difference between family-owned and family-controlled. And maybe that's the stuff we need to talk about. When every major decision is made on a Sunday dinner and everyone else gets the deal with it on Monday. Think about that. You don't have a culture, you have a dynasty. And dynasties don't like feedback. Think about it, and you know what I'm talking about. So, when the frontline worker raises a legitimate safety concern, what happens? They get labeled, quote unquote, difficult. When the safety professional says, hey, we need to fix this process, they get told, you don't understand how we do things around here. And when an accident happens, suddenly it's not about what went wrong. It's about who might embarrass the family's name. That's not safety, that's politics. And politics is what kills more safety programs than any physical hazard ever could. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Think about it for a moment. Nepotism doesn't just destroy fairness, it destroys trust. And once trust is gone, safety communication breaks down completely. Think about it. Would you feel comfortable calling out an unsafe behavior if you knew that the person you're talking about has dinner with the CEO every weekend? Would you risk your job to challenge bad decisions when you know that the decision maker's last name is on your paycheck? That's not culture of safety. That's culture of silence. I think we've discussed this before in the past. And silence is dangerous because silence doesn't prevent accidents. Silence just delays them. That's where it gets weird. So it starts with, let me kind of go back. How do we fix this? It starts with transparency, and I know some people are going to have a hard time with that one.
Duh.
If you hire or promote a family member, fine, that's not an issue. But do it openly, do it fairly, and make sure that the rest of the team knows that performance still matters. Hold everyone, and I mean everyone, to the same standard. If safety is everyone's responsibility, because people like to say that shit, then it's damn well better include the people with the same last name as the owner, as the family member. And if you're a family member in the organization, here's the challenge. Don't use the connection as a shield. Use it as a spotlight. Set the standard. Show the team that rules apply to you, maybe even more so than anyone else. That's how you build credibility. That's how you build culture. And that's how you keep people safe to some extent. Let's be realistic. So the next time someone says, well, we're like a family around here, Think about it. Ask which kind. The one that looks out for each other or the one that protects its own no matter who gets hurt in the process. Because if your quote-unquote safety program only works for the people with the family tree that own the company, it's not safety. It's known as quote-unquote, and don't hate me for it, self-preservation.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater. Zero harm turned into optics. And feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. J. Allen, Ph.D., host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Radio Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Okay, here we go. 45 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Whip-About Wednesday. Yeah, this right here that you hear in the background, it's 32 stitches with Top of the World. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So there you go. We would like to thank 32 Stitches for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Always a good time when we get to listen to some new music together, no doubt there. So go ahead and give it a little streamer-eamer action. Give it a little play, if I may say so myself. So there you go. Okay, so let's get into the move and the groove of the things that we need to talk about. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Right Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. We want you to know that people have been where you are now and that things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. And click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you'll see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, and trauma, just to name a few. Listen, once you go there and you see all the information that's readily available, you might be kind of amazed on what you can find inside of there. Because listen, just because it might not be a resource that's needed for you, it could be a resource that's needed for someone you know. So that's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. I know. It's stuff we need to talk about because, life is not the easiest thing to go through. It's stuff that we have to talk about daily. It's not a one-off. It's not a, hey, it's this particular month, so let's talk about it because it's that month. No, that's not how it works in this world. So there you go. Okay, TWLOHA.com. To Right Love on Her Arms. Let's talk about some other things making kind of the interwebs here. Been watching, yeah. People in Florida have quickly have a new pastime, watching the Elbo Room's bar live stream from home. Since 1996, the Fort Lauderdale bar has streamed daily events and staff antics and stay connected to patrons, and viewers now tune into the bartender's mixed drink, random dance-off, and more. Fans like Courtney share clips, humorously guessing what happened since the live stream is silence. She calls it her favorite show. Free on YouTube and the Bandcamp Plus. Subscriptions offer extra camera angles for $2.99 a month, multiple covers or multiple camera angles of the bar, patio, beach, and band area. The Elbo Room was founded in 1938, was the world's first commercial venue to live stream live online. Why would you pay to hear what people are saying? It's not like you can even hear people talking when you're at a bar. Yeah, I want to say that in that $2.99 subscription, if I remember correctly, you get to pay and hear the audio as well. And it's great because you're thrown out, it's great because after you're thrown out and go home, you can see what you're missing. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. So I'm so confused by this for a moment, because if you want to take a look at it and go through the whole thing, the Elbo Room is at 241 South Fort Lauderdale Beach, Florida, of course. And it's on 241 Fort Lauderdale Beach Boulevard, just in case. And yeah, they do. I'm going to go to their website real quick just to take a look. Yeah, there is a subscription-based service, first month free. And then you can take a look at different camera angles. And then there is a option for live cam with sound. Yep. There you go. Like I say all the time, there's a market for everything. You just have to know how to do the marketing for it. Anyways, with that being said, let's bring some John Small into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Zane. Seth Godin said, "There's no shortage of remarkable ideas. What's missing is the will to execute them." What a great quote. And I love this one because I know it to be 100% true. I know people who have ideas that are amazing ideas, and they have dreams that are big dreams, but sadly they lack the drive to take the steps necessary to make these dreams come true. With every successful idea, there are hard steps that need to be taken for that idea to work. If you're not willing or able to take these hard steps, you'll often fall short of finding yourself making it all the way there.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. I do not limit my devotional reading to the Scriptures, nor should you. Of course, the Scriptures are the only infallible word, and everything else we read must be weighed against them. Still, having said that, let me hasten to add that reading a book written by an author whose heart and mind is steeped in God's eternal truth is like sitting at the feet of a truly wise man. His writings are a fountain of life. Proverbs 13 says, "The teaching of the wise is a fountain of life, turning a man from the snares of death." Lord Jesus, thank you for those gifted men and women whose writings and teaching instruct us in the way of life. In your holy name we pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Israeli forces have completed their withdrawal from northern Gaza as part of the newly implemented ceasefire agreement.
The truce, which took effect early Monday, marks a significant pause in the ongoing conflict that began 2 years ago. 20 Israeli hostages, believed to be the remaining living captives held by Hamas, were released and transferred to the Red Cross for medical evaluation. Aid trucks began crossing into Gaza from Egypt, carrying essential supplies for residents facing severe shortages. Benjamin Wright, reporting.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Monday he will travel to the United States this week for talks on the potential U.S. provision of long-range weapons.
A meeting between Zelensky and Trump could take place as early as Friday, the Ukrainian president said, adding that he also would meet with defense and energy companies and members of Congress. The main topics will be air defense and our long-range capabilities to maintain pressure on Russia, Zelensky said. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
The U.S. government shutdown caused federal agencies like the Smithsonian Museums and National Zoo closed to the public.
Congress remains deadlocked over a spending bill as Republicans and Democrats trade blame for the impasse. House Speaker Mike Johnson called it the Democrats' Schumer shutdown, urging swift action before military paychecks are delayed on October 15th. The Trump administration identified emergency funds to ensure troops receive salaries on time. Jessica Oakley reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced the dismissal of several senior officials amid a restructuring push by the Trump administration.
The move targets what officials described as outdated protocols and public health response strategies. Affected employees include directors of key divisions focused on infectious disease tracking and vaccine distribution. The agency plans to rehire specialists aligned with new priorities for domestic preparedness. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Severe weather battered the Midwest, spawning tornadoes and flash floods that forced evacuations in multiple states.
The National Weather Service issued warnings for Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri as storms dumped over 6 inches of rain in hours. Emergency responders rescued more than 200 people from flooded homes and highways overnight. Power outages affected nearly 500,000 households, with restoration efforts hampered by high winds. Kyle Norris reporting.
SpaceX successfully launched its Starship rocket from Texas, marking a milestone in preparations for NASA's Artemis moon missions.
The test flight demonstrated enhanced payload capacity and heat shield integrity during re-entry. Engineers confirmed all systems performed as designed, paving the way for crewed lunar orbits in the coming years. The mission highlighted U.S. advancements in reusable spacecraft technology. Liam White reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
If you're rocking with us while working from home, we have one thing to say to you. Dude, nice work, PJs.
So as you can see, we've hit our targeted third quarter numbers as well.
Bill.
What?
Really love your Iron Man onesie.
Thank you.
Rocking your workday, whatever it looks like.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. We are currently 55 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2018, Sears files for bankruptcy. A series of stores closures and deals in desperate attempts to stay afloat failed to save the struggling retailer, though 5 stores remain in operation across the country, a far cry from the 2,705 operating at its peak as recently as of 2011. That happened back on this date in 2018. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, let's talk about some of those. Let's see. Prince Christian Denmark turns 20. Paul Hauser turns 39. Devon Gumshell turns 47. Genuine turns 50. Dominic West, 56. Roscoe Tanner turns 74, and Jim Palmer turns 80 today. So there you go. That's some birthdays. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, it's White Cane Safety Day. What the hell does that even mean? National Grouch Day, Global Hand Washing Day, National Museum Day, and Global Dignity Day. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. If you are looking for a random joke for today, I have one of those for you. It goes something like this. They should just make Tupperware spaghetti colored to begin with. I think it's easy. That's an easy process. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What is the most dangerous pet that you've ever heard of someone owning? Wouldn't it have to be the Siegfried and Roy stuff? I'm just asking. Okay, what else? If you need a question for the water cooler, 12% of people say that they have 2 of these, but they probably have 5 or more. What are they? Enemies. Do you really count them? I don't know. It's kind of an interesting one. Okay. So that's it. That's going to sum up our time together. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out for the next couple hours or so. We'll be talking about the world of music and the world of entertainment. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus and talk about the world of safety consulting. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. All the world's stage, and most of us are desperately unrehearsed. Think about that. It might take you places because you never know. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.